In our last video, we discussed the ways that toxic shame develops, how it becomes tangled up with insecure attachment styles, and how these two patterns create a debilitating feedback loop that makes healthy, secure connections seem almost impossible. Developing insight is the first step in breaking the cycle, but it is, at the end of the day, just the first step. So in this video, I'm going to give you a set of simple, practical tools to differentiate between healthy guilt and toxic shame, to interrupt the spiral, and to start moving forward. I'm going to encourage you guys to check out our first video for a more in-depth discussion about the difference between healthy guilt and toxic shame. But here's a quick overview. Guilt is an emotion or a feeling that targets a specific behavior or series of behaviors, such as forgetting someone's birthday or snapping at a family member after you've had a particularly rough day at work. When we process our guilt effectively, it fuels introspection and can motivate us to make healthy changes in how we engage our relationships or operate in general. Shame, on the other hand, targets you as a person. When we start to believe that we are a bad person or inconsiderate or selfish, we start to feel ashamed. This emotion can then get hijacked by unhealthy relationship patterns, both in the present and throughout our lives up till this point. We may begin to compulsively apologize for everything that we do. We minimize our own needs in order to prioritize someone else's, or we become so triggered by even mild conflict that we completely disconnect and isolate. This is what we call toxic shame. The emotions that we experience and the compulsive actions that we take create this horrible maladaptive spiral that poisons our relationships and our sense of who we are. Understanding the concept of toxic shame is great, but now let's get practical. Here are 5 exercises that you can use to interrupt these cycles and reclaim your sense of self-worth. First exercise, the behavior versus self reframe. This is your go-to first line of defense when that awful feeling hits. The goal is to consciously pull guilt and shame apart in the moment. First, you name the negative thought. Let's say it's, I'm such an idiot for saying that. Next, you ask the critical question, am I judging my action or my entire self? Then you reframe it. The shame thought was, I am an idiot. The new guilt-focused thought is, I made a mistake by speaking without thinking. I need to be more intentional when I speak, so next time I'll pause before I respond. The simple shift can help you move from judging yourself as a horrible person who's never going to change to acknowledging your missteps and committing to meaningful change going forward. Second exercise, interrupting the shame spiral with stop and replace. When the shame spiral is already spinning, you need a more forceful interruption. This technique, drawn from cognitive behavioral therapy, helps you kill the momentum of negative self-talk. Step 1 is to stop. The second you notice that loop of self-criticism, such as thinking I always mess things up or everyone thinks I'm a failure, physically or mentally tell yourself to stop. Some people use a classic trick like snapping a rubber band lightly on your wrist, just to create a physical anchor for this, but really any little jolt to break the trance can work. Second step, identify the distortion. Call the thought out for what it is. Is it an all or nothing statement? Are you overgeneralizing from one event to your whole life? Realizing these are just flawed stories, not facts, rob them of their power. Check out our CBT triangle video for a comprehensive review of cognitive distortions. Third step, replace. Actively create a more balanced thought. So the distortion, I always mess up, becomes I messed up this time, but I've succeeded before. This is one moment, not my whole identity. I can learn from this. The third exercise is the self-compassion letter. Shame attacks your sense of self, so the antidote must focus on healing it. Self-compassion is your most powerful tool for this. This exercise might feel strange at first, but it can be incredibly effective at quieting self-criticism. First, think of a situation that brings you a lot of shame. Now, imagine a close friend is describing that exact same situation to you. They went through it and they feel awful about it. Now, write a letter to that friend. What would you say? You'd probably validate their feelings, offer kindness, and remind them that this one event doesn't define their worth. You remind them of their strengths, of their humanity. Once you're done, go back and change the name at the top to your own. And read it back to yourself. This exercise works because it slightly bypasses your inner critic and connects you to your part of yourself that already knows how to be kind and compassionate. Fourth exercise, breaking the attachment cycle with the pause and ask method. This one is for managing those automatic fawn or freeze responses in the middle of a conflict. Step one, pause. You're in a tense conversation, you feel that spike of anxiety, and your first instinct is either to apologize for everything or just shut down. Don't. Take a deep breath and commit yourself to doing things differently this time. Second step, ask. Ask yourself internally, what do I need right now? The answer might be safety, space, or just a moment to think. Third step is to identify. Notice your automatic urge. Are you about to fawn and take all the blame? Are you about to freeze and disappear? Just naming the impulse reduces its power over you. The fourth step is to choose. Based on what you need, choose a new small action. Instead of blurting out, I'm sorry, you could say, can I have a minute to think about that? Instead of freezing and shutting down, you might say, I'm feeling a little overwhelmed right now. I need a 5-minute break. This breaks the old survival pattern and reminds you that you have other options. The fifth exercise is the repair protocol. This final exercise is about putting healthy guilt into action. When you know you did something wrong and feel genuine guilt, you can use it to build connection instead of hiding. The first step in this process is to acknowledge. Start with a clean admission. I made a mistake when I did X, Y, or Z. Period. Don't add a but, and be sure to limit the admission to specific behaviors. Next, you empathize. Show you understand the impact of your actions. I imagine that when I did that, it made you feel hurt, disrespected, or unimportant. Step 3 is to listen. Ask, can you tell me how that was for you? Then be quiet and listen without defending yourself or becoming overly apologetic. Fourth step, repair. Offer a path forward. This can be a sincere apology, or it could be asking, what can I do to make this right? This protocol turns guilt from a source of pain into a bridge for healing and connection. Your journey out of shame isn't about becoming perfect. It's about becoming more compassionate with your imperfections. So here's my challenge for you. For the next week, just practice one thing, the behavior versus self reframe. Each time you feel that wave of self-criticism, just pause and ask, am I judging my action or myself? That one question can start to change everything. Maybe drop a comment below about where you plan to apply the strategy. And if this video is resonating with you, please consider sharing it. Shame thrives in silence and secrecy, and we break its power by talking about it. For so long, you may have believed that your internal voice of shame was the voice of truth. You may have mistaken its cruel whispers for guidance, thinking that being hard on yourself was the only way to be better. But here's the truth. You cannot hate yourself into a version of yourself that you can love. Guilt can be a compass. Shame is often a cage. Guilt can point you towards growth. Shame often keeps you trapped in a cycle of self-blame. By learning to tell the difference, practicing self-compassion, and taking small, real steps to repair your mistakes, you can break out of that cage. You are not your mistakes. You are a human being who is constantly learning and growing, and you are worthy of kindness, especially from yourself. Thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful, please subscribe to the channel and hit that like button. It really helps us out. I'm Chris Nakos, and I'll see you next time here on the Seaglass Perspective.